Right, let's get this going. 12:59. Hey. Right. How's it going? Just want to check. Can you all say hello or type something in the chat box or something? Because this is being streamed pretty much everywhere, and I'm using this new software. I want to make sure that all of the chats go through to this centralized thingamajiggy. Hey. Oh, great. We have a spammer in the chat already. That's really annoying. So I guess this is going to be our first lesson. I can't actually edit or no, don't know. For some reason, the chat's not coming through to this sort of central thingamajiggy. So I can't scroll backwards or upwards or whatnot. So what I'll do very quickly is open Facebook on another thingy. Right. Hey. Cool. So first lesson, seeing as the first comment was a scammer, is if I ever text you or email or social media you saying, hey, send me some Bitcoin, I'll send you more, or anything like that, it's not me. It's a bot of some sort. I literally don't have time for outbound messaging. Yeah, my account gets cloned probably 3 or 4 times a month, and no matter how many times I tell Facebook or Insta or whatever, yeah, they don't do anything about it. Right. So what I will do, I'm going to take off this little chat thing for now. There we go. I've just got Facebook and YouTube on other screens, so for the chat. Cool. So what I'll do, whilst people are filtering in, is I am going to just quickly talk about this. If I share my screen, this is going to go woefully wrong. Knowing my luck, I'm the worst with tech. Add a source, share screen. Fingers crossed. Start screen sharing. Share that one. Cool. Right, looks like you got my face and some scribbles. Very nice. So we probably most likely won't have time to go through all of this. No worries if not. I'm going to be holding another session like this next week. For the foreseeable future, or for a period, I'm going to be doing these live sessions once a week, every Thursday at 1. I'm just doing a little testy trial type thing. But anyway, so today I want to talk about the wealth generation journey. And we're not talking about crypto. And the reason I have to go before 2 is that I've got a 2-hour live stream I'm doing to my trading students where I will be talking about crypto. So the first thing I want to talk about is the demographic contrarianism. So this is something which has looked after me for many, many years. And you have to understand, I came from an environment where I was institutionalized. Just like anyone that has spent a large period of time in a large body or entity, they will be institutionalized or brainwashed or propagandized to that entity's way of thinking. So I was in the Air Force from the age of 18 till, I don't know, 26, something like that. Yeah, and it's the same with anything, doctors, nurses, police, firefighters, anyone of a big organization. You will be institutionalized in the way that you think, whether you know it or not. And it took me a long time to get some sort of mental sort of awareness that a lot of the belief systems I had were not generated from my own thinking. They were generated from things that were passed down to me from the higher ups, etc. And the moment I sort of clocked on that a lot of my belief systems weren't mine, I went down some really big rabbit hole. And if you were to be completely honest with yourself, I'm pretty sure most belief systems are in your brain, even though you haven't put many person cycles towards it. It could be your belief on money and something that your peers and your parents have, sort of imparted down to you. But when was the last time you spent 100 hours of research on money or whatever belief system, whatever floats your boat, basically? And I think that's one of the things I really want to teach my kids. I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old. I really want them to be strong, independent thinkers and to not just blindly accept random things that, the higher ups say is true. So even if mummy and daddy say something, I actually like it when they question. And even to my 4-year-old, I give them, my pledge to them is I always give them straight answers, to the point where if they actually want to know something, they don't go to mummy, they go to daddy, because they know I won't bullshit them. And unfortunately, yeah, it's a bit weird because my 6-year-old this Christmas came to the realization on his own that Santa didn't exist. And I was a bit sad for him and also very, very proud and impressed by him. So he's a clever little kid. Anyway, so what does this mean for in the real world? Okay, let's bring this back to, get out of the theory, kid. How can this actually help me? Well, for those who have seen me talking about this before, I apologize and I don't. But yeah, the repetition is the mother of learning. So if you were to take the UK, I'm based in the UK, US, it doesn't matter what country you're from, but if you were to take, let's say, a Western country, or what's the political correct term, first world country, that's probably not right, I don't know, it always changes. And you were to basically do a standard distribution of, a demographic standard distribution, it would be something like this, in terms of wealth, by the way. It's going to be some sort of bell end. Sorry. Bell curve. Sorry, I get my mind out of the gutter. So let's just say this is wealth/income. So over here, you have, so if this was just say the UK or US, I mean, you're not really, even this person over here is not going to be starving to death. It's highly unlikely. But this is, let's just say, poor, and this is uber rich. And basically anything that is sort of within 2 sigma deviation, or 2 sigma over here, so this sort of subset, let's say that's 90, I think it's about 96% of the population, they are all going to think or believe, think and do the same things, like completely. So this is where you get your big black tar brush out and go, okay, let's just pluck a whole bunch of random people from this as I said earlier, this bell end, and analyze them, interrogate them, see what the hell is going on, and they will all have similar beliefs and actions. So like I always say, it all starts from beliefs. Let's make this a bit thicker. All stems, I can't spell believe, oh Jesus Christ, beliefs, thoughts, actions. That, in my opinion, seems like the most logical thing. You believe something, so that is the way that you think. It then generates thoughts based on those parameters, and then you act according to that. Now, if you were to basically have a little look-see at what these people think and do when it comes to money, wealth, investing, all that sort of stuff, what are the commonalities? They don't invest. And by the way, putting money into premium bonds, that's not investing. That's financial abdication and basically lifting your skirt up and allowing the world to ravage your finances. And I mean that because, like, if you're basically putting things in, like premium bonds and ISAs and whatnot, everyone, it's like the tail wagging the dog. They're, oh, look at these tax savings, tax savings, tax savings. Well, tax savings on bugger all means bugger all. So, like, if you've got, and the thing is, people completely like ignore or discount the currency expansion. So, like, if we just take the US dollar, this is the US dollar. It just grows and grows and grows. This is the currency supply. If you look at UK M2, it's the same thing. United Kingdom M2. GBM2. It's exactly the same thing. The currency supply, on average, no matter which country you're in, on average grows roughly 15 to 16% per year. Now, when you add in compounding interest over time, like you can see, it's all, oh, sorry, that's a logarithmic chart. There we go. It's freaking ridiculous. So if, let's say, the currency supply is expanding by 15% per year, if you're making anything less than 15% on your investments, you're getting poorer every year, which is why premium bonds are just, so on average, they don't invest. On average, people have a job. And now I'll talk about this later. This is not a derogatory comment. I always get a lot of abuse from this. It is not. This is simply the first step on the ladder. So they don't invest. They will save for saving's sake. Not to invest. So you need to save to invest, not to save, or they'll save for a deposit. And that is pretty much the biggest thing anyone will, or most people in this bell end will save for, a house deposit. And therefore they're not buying a house, they're renting a house for 30 years from the bank. That's all that happens. No, actually it's a call option to a degree. But yeah, what else do? They will most likely, again, big brush, oh, I've just got an alert here. Streaming seems to have been affected. Oh shit. Can you still see me? I've got shitty Starlink internet that cuts out like every 15 minutes. It's really annoying. Can you all hear and see me? Yep, good. Okay, I'll carry on then. Yeah, sorry, I've got in total there's 80 people here, but I've got it's streaming to random bits and bobs. And I apologize for anyone that's listening to this on Twitter. If you're listening to this on Twitter, you watch this on YouTube because I'm drawing stuff. So I don't know how this is being displayed on Twitter, whether it's a space or not, who knows. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so let's get back to this. Yeah, so they'll spend a large percent of their income on crap, but even worse, the biggest waste is they'll spend a huge percentage of their time on crap. And of all of the things here, the things that keep people in this shitty bell end, sorry, I'm being a bit obtuse here. I'm doing it for effect. Is this bit here? So the incongruence that I see with a lot of people, and I find taxi drivers are the worst, is that they spend a huge percentage of their time on crap. So they will moan about their situation. They'll moan about their mortgage interest repayments or whatever. They'll be moaning, but they'll spend no time trying to fix it. The age-old definition of insanity. It's this which is the key thing. If you literally, it's like resource management, wealth generation is simply maths at the end of the day. It's maths and physics. And so you've got to direct your time, energy, and focus and money and resources on the things that get you towards your goal. And you have to be meticulous about it. So, for example, all the people over here, they will probably spend huge amounts of their time watching the football, being obsessed with football. Like I think most people will know a person who can tell you every freaking stat there is to know about football, from how long a person's been on this team to how many goals and assists they've done, blah, blah, blah. And that is their life. And that's absolutely fine. And by the way, the massive caveat with all of the things that I'm saying today is that there is nothing wrong with where you are. Where you are. Yeah, that is my overall, and I genuinely mean that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with where you are. However, if you are somewhere which you are not happy with and you want to get elsewhere, then you need to do something about it. And I'll put my hands up. I'm not happy with my current state, and that's one of my curses. We all have traits, negative self-destructive traits. One of my negative self-destructive traits, which and I'm working on this, I'm well aware of. And one of the reasons why I struggle to be happy is that I always want more. And I know it sounds very cliche, we all want more. But the thing is, I will bust a gut, after a goal, to have a net worth of X or hit X amount of income per month or blah, 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 blah. And I'll dedicate every waking moment to it. And I'll spend, months or a year or years getting to it. And it will be a nice target. And then the moment I get there, I go, sweet. Well, that was fun for the last 3 years. I'm now here. Okay, I'm still pissed off. I want more. And then I never, so I'm trying to celebrate the little wins more. And also I'm trying to chill out a bit more. I'm trying to, I'm focusing more on happiness. But it is a fine line, because the more I focus on happiness, the lazier I'm actually getting in business. It's that ever-growing thing. So I just want to reiterate: there's absolutely nothing wrong with where you are. This today's session is for people that you could be over here or you could be in here, but and that they want to do. Okay, so the first thing is that, are you spending a huge amount of your time on absolute crap, which has zero impact to not necessarily the world, but to yourself, your kids, whatever. Now, you could easily spit this back in my face and go, yeah, but Simon, you're obsessed with COD at the moment, or it used to be Age of Empires, or blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But the thing is, I'm very anal with where my time goes. So like with anything, let's move on in terms of new chart. I've got sort of pie charts of time, not that they're not on my walls or anything, but I am aware that we sleep for X amount, we do random other bits X amount, and realistically I've got all of this time, this big chunk to allocate it with when I'm not sleeping, eating, having a shower, all that sort of stuff. And I like to spend a big chunk with family and making sure the kids are happy. Which means, so when you get rid of all the family type stuff, you actually got this chunk. This is, whether it's per day, per year, is irrelevant. It's all relative. And so in terms of work, I will. It used to be all work, no play, but now I'm doing this. I'm playing a lot more these days, which means for the work chunk, I'm trying to be more efficient. Now, one way you can be more efficient is, can you leverage stuff? So as I said about physics and maths, wealth accumulation is just maths. it's also time attributed to or aggregated time into a single vessel that you own. So for example, if you have a job and you're working 40 hours a week, yeah, this chunk could be your 40 hours, but those 40 hours are going in someone's boat, someone else's vessel. They're not going into your boat. Whereas you could be a one-man band, electrician, or one-man band, a single person business. In fact, I'm probably not even allowed to say man these days. A single person business. At least if there's you doing a single person business and you're only doing 40 hours a week, well, guess what? Those 40 hours are going towards your goals or whatever. And success, in my opinion, success is the aggregated cumulative efforts, all lead towards and focus towards one goal. And so for myself, or if anyone else out there who is also a business owner, and let's say you're doing something similar, so obviously you can't do any of, let's say there's nothing you can do to free up more time for this chunk, okay? And you're not going to jeopardize your sleep and get up out of bed, 5 o'clock in the morning, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to jeopardize the family chunk. All you have is this little black chunk over here. Well, you just got to work smarter. You either employ more people, because hell, if you've got 10 people in your business all doing 40 hours a week, guess what? You've got 400 hours a week going into your business. You're literally getting to your goal 10x faster, if they are productive staff, that is. Or can you use tools to improve your productivity? So in my team, so we've massively downsized recently in terms of teams, but what I'm really being obsessed about, and to the point where everyone's so freaking annoyed at the term AI, is that I'm trying to make every single staff member in my team an absolute guru at AI according to their specific role. So for example, we have an in-house full-time videographer called Bradley, who's a nice chap, and I've been trying to ram down his throat all the AI tools, and he's new. He's like 1 month in, and I'm like, use this tool and this tool and this tool, and he's like, fuck. But I'm, it's going to be rough. If Bradley's watching this, yeah, it's probably rough at the moment. I'm like throwing everything at you, but trust me, we're going to get into a nice groove where you're using AI tools to basically make your life a lot easier, a lot quicker, so you can chuck out more videos. Basically, I guess the theme over the next few years is basically humans armed with AI are going to outperform humans that are not armed with AI. And it's not just videographers. There's loads of things. My admin team are now incredibly more productive. Like there's one person on my team that used to spend 1 or 2 hours a week just doing transcriptions for my weekly trading pub sessions. Now he can do it in about 5 minutes. So he's now saved 2 hours a week of his time because he can just use this AI tool to not only do transcripts of the whole video, but to create a summary of the video and to also give the key learning points of the video, all in like 5 minutes with simple AI plugins. So there's so many other things. So don't get sucked into the whole Gary V hustle, sleep 2 hours a night, wake up at 3 in the morning, go to the gym for 5 hours before you start your day, and all that bollocks. I literally go to bed every night at like 2:30 in the morning. I groggily wake up at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm a very slow starter to the day. I tend to properly, my brain switches on about midday. And then really I've only got 5 hours because I have a strict no work policy from 5 onwards. So I'm being a lot lazier than I used to be. But in those 5 hours, I'm just obsessed with being even more productive than when I did 18 hours a day of work. So, but yeah, and sometimes it may mean you just need to chill the hell out on your football or your, I don't know, whatever it may be. So going back to this very first point, which I've rattled on for 20 minutes now, the quick, long story short is analyze what most people believe, think, and do as a standing point. Believe, think, and do the opposite. Like literally, do the opposite of what everyone in this bell curve are doing, and that's a good standing point. And then you can always work your way back in. So if that belief spectrum is belief, action, thought, belief, thought, action spectrum is over here, and the masses are all thinking something over here, and your starting point is opposite. Obviously, not the correct answer is very rarely going to be always the correct opposite. You then work inwards, and you'll find that the sweet spot's like over here. And before you know it, if you do this for long enough, you'll lose all of your friends, or your normal friends, or your normal thinking friends, because they'll think you're weird, and you're just new weird friends. So, but guess what? If you start doing things like this, you will earn more, because you'll start looking into setting up your own business and spending less time on crap. You'll be spending less money on crap. Like hell, there was a massive period in my life where I was spending something stupid like 40% of my monthly income on a car. I remember I was in the Air Force. I was 23 years old. I made some money with trading, whatever. And I was driving around the base in a lovely Aston Martin V8 Vantage, and the monthly repayments for that, plus so my insurance alone, I remember that my insurance was $4,500 a year. And I can't remember the monthly repayments. It was something stupid, and I was an idiot. I was basically spending almost half of my income on a stupid car. But guess what? Pretty much everyone in this chunk over here is doing something like that. Right, so let's move on. And that's sort of the ethereal, it's not really woo-woo stuff, but this is something which you need to look out for. Even of like it, and by the way, every here is completely applicable to any new thing that you're trying to investigate. Like one of the things I'm doing at the moment is I'm teaching myself how to play the drums. I haven't got fucking time to play the drums. I don't really want to play the drums. But my two little kids, 4 and 6-year-old, love playing the drums. So I'm taking them to drum lessons, right? And I've sat in a few of the lessons, and I'm sat there in those lessons thinking, this is such an incredibly inefficient way to teach kids how to play the drums. And I'm like, oh God, I could teach. I'm not a drummer, and I'm sat there thinking I could teach drumming better than this. So what I'm doing is I'm applying the same stuff over here. So you could like draw this standard deviation of drummers or drum teachers, or the way that it is taught. And the masses are taught drumming this way. I'm thinking, well, how can I be logical? First principle analysis here. And so my little side project is, can I, some old crusty fart, become a better drummer than my kids, who have just got endless amounts of talent in friggin' everything they do at the moment? And so far, the way that I'm teaching myself, I'm getting better results. And I am right now, 2023, February, I'm a better drummer than my kids. And I've had no lessons. I'm just teaching myself, and I think in a logical way. And I'm trying to teach my kids, the way that I'm doing. My wife is saying, "Oh, you should stop teaching them like that. It's going to confuse them." I'm like, fine. So we'll probably chat again in a year's time. The kids are absolutely destroying me at the drums. Anyway, next point, the journey. Before we get further, I just want to check the question. So I can't see it. Okay, so let's have a look. So there's not many questions on the Facebook. What about YouTube? Lots on YouTube. And yeah, okay, cool. So checking out the questions. Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to be talking about crypto today. Dom said, I find time to be my biggest excuse for not doing anything. Yeah, time is never an excuse, folks. It's never an excuse. It's priority misallocation. So you're not prioritizing things. So, and I used to be the same, but like whenever I hear someone, oh, I'm too busy to this, or I haven't got time to learn this or do this, it's not that. You just haven't assigned enough priority to whatever that is to make time for it. And there are, and no matter how tight your time pie chart is, you will be able to sacrifice is part of it. Like for example, I love playing computer games. Part of my little pie chart here is I spend probably I've toned it down a bit, but I'm spending about 3 hours a day playing computer games, right? Now I literally don't have time to play lots of different computer games because I'm obsessive. So I can only play one computer game at a time. I can only be obsessed with one game at a time. So so at the moment it's COD. So I'm just all in on COD, like 2 or 3 hours a night. But eventually I'll then move on to something else. But if things really hit the shovel, shit hit the the fan, and I really needed, something really bad happened money wise or whatever, gaming. I was going to say AI gaming. Gaming is the first little thing that will disappear. I also play snooker every week, and that would disappear. Same flying, so it's just prioritization. So next question time. Just crypto questions. Sorry, no crypto. I've got to go at 2 o'clock. I'm doing a 2-hour live stream for my students about crypto at 2. So Jupe says, how do you switch? I just play COD. But the real answer is I never switch off. The problem is, as an employee, like when I was in the Air Force, you clock off and that's it, really. That's it. Job done for the day. And you clock back in the next day. And there's no real repercussions. If you do a bad job or a good job, repercussions really to your income. You're going to get your salary every month, unless you really screw up, get fired. But even if you're really shit in jobs these days, you can't just get fired. Like, as an employer, I know the process, how to fire someone, and it's a freaking ball ache. You cannot just fire someone because then you're going to get done. So even if you're really shit at your job, you've got, unless the company goes bust quickly, it's hard to lose your job. So as a business owner, you never switch off. Your mind will always be thinking sales or blah, blah, blah. Like, you never switch off. And it's a curse. And no matter how rich you get, you'll not switch off, even if you really bring your work hours down, to like 10 hours a week, which I have done for a period of time. Like, your brain is still firing on all cylinders about work. So yeah. Any other questions before I move on to the next bit? Just seeing what questions. 1 second. So I'm using this software called Restream.io, and I thought, according to the literature, I'd be able to see all of the comments streaming through on this central portal, but I can't see shit. So even if I click chat overlay, I can't scroll. That's annoying, that. So I will sort something out next time. Look at this. As I said, you can't do anything on Facebook these days without scammers. Look, can you see this one? I'm just checking you can see it. Yeah, so this is live streaming on the Realistic Trader Facebook page. And I barely post anything on here these days because you can't do anything without freaking bots. Look, all these people saying, I'm skeptical first, I went ahead with X, this beat, blah, blah, blah. And there's people, that this account is not me. And no matter how many times you block or ban them, like, this is not me, folks. This is another fake account just scamming people. And all of these comments, these are bots as well. Like Jono Conradi, this is a bot. Or a bot has hacked his Facebook account and is now posting on here. Anyway, so lack of questions. Oh, okay. So Sean Sheep has said, how does someone hire and maintain employees when they have more opportunities to start their business, their own business, multiplying their own skills with AI. There's a few things there. The hard one. So where most people go wrong is that they, in fact, if we do, I'll show you something. If we go to the portal, 1 second, I'll just log in. Because a lot of people think when you're hiring someone, it's like you just put a job ad out on Indeed or CV Library or whatever it is in your country, and that you get people in, and then that's it. But it's not. That's so far away from the case. But before I talk about the hiring stuff, the next part of your question is the key thing here. Yeah, where there's so many opportunities that they can start their own business. Going back to this demographic here, the sight or even the thought or prospect of setting up their own business is so horrific or horrifying for the people in this demographic. It just doesn't happen. So no matter how, everyone could become all preachy about setting up a business, but the most of the population just won't. It's just not it's not how they're built. And even if you subjected them to 100 hours of Tony Robbins or whatever, it still wouldn't be the case, which is not a bad thing. But in terms going into the hiring process, so here in the portal, in the WAP, so quickly talk about the WAP very quickly. The WAP made long before that stupid Cardi B song. It's called the Wealth Action Plan. It's like my little Netflix for business, money, all sort of stuff. And we've got modules for bloody everything. And one of the modules is staff, believe it or not. So if we look at this, so this is actually the realistic trader pool trading sessions. But if you go to the WAP modules, go down to the staff. Where is it? Here. How we recruit team members. Let's maybe look at this one. It's only a short module, this, but there's a picture that I want to share with you. No. Come on. Tips for recruiting. So there is a picture which I know is in this module somewhere. I just got to find it. It's probably in one of these videos. Yes, this one here. So 1 second. Tips. No. Bear with me. It's definitely this video. No. Where is it? It's probably the end if it's not there. I'm sure this is absolutely riveting. I'll just mute this. There's a bloody slide. There's one little slide that. There we go. Done. That was good enough to go. So the whole looks like I've just jumped out into the PowerPoint part of that. But yeah. So when you're recruiting, this is literally the whole shebang. You've got to spend time on the job spec and the job ad, and you've got to be so brutally honest on that. Because the biggest churn I see personally with staff is where you put out a job ad, like everyone go, oh, this job's amazing. They come, and then like after a few months, they realize the job spec, the job ad was absolute bollocks, and it's a shithole to work for you or for the business or whatever. So like my job ads are really brutally honest. It's like, yeah, parts of this job are shit. And you list the good stuff as well. Then the interviewing, I mean, there's so many, by the way, there's nuance with all of these bits and bobs, but this is the process. You've got to interview, then test, then you've got to hire them, then the onboarding, then the training, and that is months worth of training, by the way, training. And then you've got to test them on the training that they've had, shadowing them, monitoring them, reviewing them. And then it's really after about a year that they're fully capable members of your team. You've got to get pissed a lot. You've got to up level them so you don't keep them at the same level. You've got to constantly up level their skills, so that you then up level their prospects, reviewing progression. And what I like to do is, if I can take a little screenshot of this, if I was to add to this screenshot, 1 second, I'll move this aside. Oh my lord, how do I get rid of this video? Get rid of that, get rid of that. So what I like to do is I don't actually want staff, I want business partners. So if we were to add in a 17th point here, make this a thinner pen, customize thick point, medium will do. Biz branch incentive. So what I like to do is go, right, I'm going to set up a brand new branch to this existing business for this new product, new thingy. And Joe Bloggs, you've been in the team for a while now. I want you to lead this up, and you're going to be head of that department. You're going to be head widget person or head blah. And just, you know, and basically this is a risk-free business. They're basically they get the opportunity to be the head of their own brand new business with no risk, none of the money risk, none of the income risk, and what, like the equivalent of employee and being a business owner is, with an employee, it's like going to Tesco, picking up a chicken, like a rotisserie chicken, going to the checkout, it's already cooked for you, and then you just go home, plonk it on your plate, add some ketchup and eat it. As a business owner, you've got to wake up at 4 in the freaking morning, you've got to put on some warm clothing, and you're going to go hunting with your sniper rifle, and you're going to hunt some chickens or deer or sheep, whatever. You found a sheep, good, you shoot it. You then got to drag its dead carcass back to your pickup truck. You then got to somehow shear it. You got to chop it up. You got to clean it. And only once you've, you know, done all of that, you then get to, you know, cook the lamb chop. But you got all that bullshit that comes with just getting a freaking meal. That is the difference between a business owner and a non-business owner. You take all of the risk, and there is a lot of risk with being, you know. And so this way, I like that person, you know, to head up a new branch, and only then you can see, you know, does that person have the, you know, the metal? Do they have what it takes to run up their own branch? And if they do well, great. You can then eventually spin off. Here we go. Spin off LTD. If they do really well, that branch itself, you can spin off as its own standalone limited company. This person can be, sorry, that person will be the director or MD, depending. I don't want to be directors, really. Yeah, that person can be the director, and you know, you could go, right, yeah, you can earn your way up to say 35%. Yeah, and I'll have, you know, 65%. But that would be a ratchet agreement where they can earn up to it. I never like releasing more than 65% on a spin-off like that. And I've done this loads of times where, or I've tried to get it. Well, I've actually many times tried to do 17, and then the person just screws up. Many times. And sometimes what's actually happened, you train them up, they actually do well, and then they just bugger off themselves. You're running the risk of that they just go off and do their own business. But I like to have awesome people in the team that want to stay because it's fun. And yeah, so that's my long answer to your question, buddy. Jupe says, what are your main ways of marketing? Facebook still work? That's interesting. So I actually haven't done any marketing for the Real Estate Trader in over 2 years, basically since COVID. And that's one, because I've been complacent with a lot of the businesses, and two, Facebook marketing, which was the main avenue, just stopped working because the cost per acquisition to get a new client just spiraled up. And actually, I've just started doing some ads. I'm just testing out some stuff for the Realistic Trader, that is, just tepidly, because the pixel's not working because of the Apple Facebook fight. It's just not as good. So here's my ad manager. I literally set it up yesterday or the day before. I'm only spending 100 quid a day. I've just got some, you know, targeting business owners, 3 simple adverts. I'm just seeing, and all I'm doing is link click traffic. That's it, not conversion, because it's all shitty. But yeah, and at the moment I'm actually struggling to spend. Oh no, it's not. It has actually spent it. So yeah, with my industry for RT, it is about £1 a click for that. So averaging about 70, 80, about 80p a click. And yeah, I am doing some ads. Also doing the same for my wife's business, My Fairy Pen Pal. We're running a campaign over that. We're just in the testing phase at the moment. I think that's only 20 quid a day or something like that. But that's actually doing all right. It's already brought in about 5 new sales so far. But yeah, so at the moment, I think marketing has changed a lot over the last couple of years. So I think actually, and what I'm seeing is a mass dive into building an audience. So I know lots of multi millionaires, and I sort of third party, secondhand know of in my slightly extended circle other multi millionaires who have loads of money. They've done really well in their random businesses. You'd never have heard of any of their businesses, but they made 20, 30 million or whatever. But all of these big people, and also billionaires out there, they're suddenly realizing that they've bought and sold a bunch of businesses. They've made loads of money, but they've got no profile. They've got no clout. So what are they doing? They're all setting up, Twitter, YouTube accounts. They're trying to grow their profile, which I think is quite leading or revealing to me personally. So I think that's maybe the way forward. Yeah, and if you, for example, if you have a YouTube channel, that will generate eyeballs. If people, there will be a percentage of people that hate you, some that like you, and most like whatever. So you, by default, you will just get more eyeballs onto your business. Next question: how do you decide on what business to start when you have no interest or hobbies? Yeah, so Dom, so that is an interesting question. So I've got 2 answers for you. The first answer is that you really need just to do the WAP free trial. So if you go to thewap.org, 30-day free trial, completely free, and you get access to these video introduction videos. I need a different word for that because they're not introduction videos. They are epic videos. And what I show you in that, if my bloody internet would like to hurry the hell up, that'd be grand. Come on. Is that there are loads of videos in just this free section alone of how of answering exactly your question. And I even set up a brand new business from scratch. Scroll all the way down here. This is where we set up my wife's business, My Fairy Pen Pal. Literally, because in the WAP I talk about how you can set up this sort of business, blah blah blah. Well, we actually went and did it. Like, I'll show you the very first. I remember we had I had a Tesla at the time, and I was charging up my car, and I realised actual stuff in the WAP. Why don't I put my money where my mouth is? And I set up, and the goal was to set up I actually did it. It was a phone video. So and I set myself some targets of what to hit, blah blah blah, and then that literally documented every single part of the biz setup, and to the point where we sold 10% of the business for 100 grand a couple of years, or probably 18 months ago now. So we've got thing, and we're now just trying to grow it. So like, you definitely need the WAP. Check it out, buddy. And you will get loads of ideas, not just in there, but you have loads of other stuff. There's multiple, like a whole section for business ideas and stuff. But the key thing is, if you know how to drive traffic, so the marketing element of this is crucial, because if you know how to drive traffic and eyeballs, like whether it's offline lumpy mail to online type stuff, it'll help filter out some shit ideas. Have you ever tried affiliate marketing from platforms like ClickBank? No, I haven't. I've always done my own thing. People don't appreciate the level of commitment, involvement, and drive needed to be a business owner. but they just want the rewards and pay. Hey, Justin, yes. Hey, buddy, yes, completely true. Completely true. So I'm looking at this on Facebook. So Miguel, hey Migs. So Migs is in my geek club. He says, is there a WAP WAP module on starting and running a staffless company for those who don't like dealing with people? Yes, there is. Yeah, you can actually. And this is what, so we're doing this right now. We are literally doing this right now. We are setting up an AI enabled business with no staff, blah, blah. Well, there's always going to be an element of stuff. So if I was doing it on my own, I could do this on my own. But what I've actually done is I've palmed this off to the videographer in my team. So I won't spend that much time on this, but long story short, we have a YouTube niche that, you can type in on YouTube, the top niches for ads, ad revenue, etc. And one of those niches was tech and gadgets. Is about 7th on the list. It's quite good. And YouTube are trying to take out TikTok, so they're now doing ad revenue sharing. So you can make ad YouTube revenue with shorts, so sub 1 minute videos. So what we're setting up right now is a tech and gadget YouTube short business. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on chucking out 2 videos a day on tech. So and for the videos are only going to be used by AI. So ChatGPT-3 will come up with the content, like the script. We've got other various AI tools that create the background video, the avatar, the voice, the subtitles, and you can create a 30-second video in all subtitled and musiced up, all in under 10 minutes. So if we chuck out 2 videos a day, I reckon by month 3 or 4, there'll be enough ad revenue from YouTube that it'll be checking out about £1,000 a month. And then you can start scaling. And then when you have enough of an audience, the reason I picked tech and gadgets is that we can start doing affiliate links. So if we have, getting affiliate links for the gadgets that we're, so this is our little side research project. But in essence, you could do this on your own. It'll be a business without any staff. So yeah. Next question. Yeah, sorry, it's not trading or crypto session today. For those interested in the Realistic Trader, just go to therealistictrader.com. And actually, just click on the basics of learning to trade for free. There is literally here, this page, 7 hours of videos could change your world. So watch that, and you can get a free book. So it's worth having a little look at that. Joe Snow says, where can you find the best investor for a company ready for growth? You got to network. Unfortunately, that is the only way to do it. You've got to network and meet people. And also get your business. You say it's ready for growth, but is it really? Like, do you have a folder with all of your monthly P&Ls and balance sheets printed out? Do you have screenshots of your e-commerce? Do you have undeniable proof of the things that you can do? Like, it's very compelling if you can sit down across a potential investor and go, whoom, and whack down a very thin, folder of like, this is the start, and then they can see the growth. So all that sort of stuff. Create that story. Right, next question. Then I've really got to go. Yeah, that's it. Actually, that's all the questions. So yeah, thanks everyone. I think we hit 100 people today across all of the different streaming bits and bobs. I'm sure the recording will be somewhere, but yeah, I hope today's helped. Again, my it's not even shameful or shameless. It's just literally, don't forget to check out the WAP. That thewap.org. It is Netflix for wealth gen, I guess. Just do the free trial. There's so much there. Right, so for my traders, I'll see you on Zoom at 2 o'clock. Have a good one, folks. And I'll do another one of these live streams next Thursday. Toodles. Now, for the awkward pause where I try and figure out the end streaming thing for this, this software. Here we go. End stream. Bye.